Stress, sleep, and self-care. So let's begin by grounding ourselves in the physical aspects of stress, sleep, and self-care. I'm speaking about these three parts of our health as a whole collective to begin with, and then we're going to cover some simple strategies to help you get started. Now, these are not some lifestyle extras. These are important aspects of our health that are our biological regulators. What this means to you is that we must find balance in these areas because they directly impact us on so many levels. They determine whether your body feels safe enough to burn fat, repair tissues, balance hormones, digest food efficiently, and also to think clearly. And when these systems are strained for too long, your body adapts in ways that may feel frustrating, confusing, and sometimes just completely unfair. Now, I want you to hear this clearly. Your symptoms are not random. They're the way your body's communicating with you. So if sleep, stress, and self-care are areas in your health that are problematic for you, then this is an important three-part series to tune in on. From a physiological perspective, stress is not just an emotional experience, it's a full body biochemical event. Yes, you heard me right. The moment your brain perceives pressure, whether this is from work deadlines, emotional load, lack of rest, blood sugar instability, inflammation, or even under eating, you're not eating enough, this sends a signal through the hypothalamus in your brain to activate what we call the HPA axis. Your HPA axis is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is your primary stress response system. We can't escape this simple biological system of our body. What we can do is rectify our stress, sleep, and self-care through strategies and principles of health that are well researched. So once this HPA axis has been triggered, the end result of this cascade is cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone, remember. It's released into the body as a response from stress. So in healthy short bursts, cortisol, it's essential, right? We work under a certain amount of stress, and that's perfectly normal. Our body can do that. The cortisol helps us to wake up in the morning. It mobilizes our energy. It sharpens our focus. It keeps our blood sugar stable between meals instead of swinging around. Cortisol is meant to rise and fall in a predictable rhythm across the day. The problem is not cortisol itself. The problem is cortisol elevation of the cortisol levels. So when stress becomes constant, physical, emotional, biochemical, or environmental, there's lots of different ways that we can be stressed, then this stress response, it never actually has a chance to switch off properly. So then cortisol remains elevated for longer than your body was ever designed to tolerate. And when this happens, your body shifts its priorities. Survival always comes first. So when your body is chronically stressed, in a chronically stressed state, your digestion is going to slow down, causing blood flow to be diverted away from the gut and towards the muscles and the brain instead, because it's about survival, right? Stomach acid production, it's going to drop. Enzyme production is going to reduce as well. Gut motility changes, and this is why stress and poor sleep are so strongly linked with bloating, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, food sensitivities, and also nutrient deficiencies. You can be eating all the right foods and still feel unwell if your nervous system is stuck in this fight or flight state. So at the same time, cortisol signals your liver to release glucose into your bloodstream. And this is designed to give us a quick access to energy. But when that signal happens repeatedly, it's like stuck in the on position day after day, it contributes to blood sugar instability and also insulin resistance. This is one of the most common hidden reasons that weight loss stalls and becomes stubborn, particularly around the belly. High cortisol also promotes fat storage and not fat burning, because your body interprets this ongoing stress as a signal that food availability may be not going to happen. It's uncertain. So your body then becomes really efficient at storing away the energy as fat and not releasing it. This is not a body weakness. This is pure biology. Your it's about survival. So let's flick the conversation. Let's talk about inflammation. So chronic stress, it increases your inflammatory signaling throughout your entire body. This systemic inflammation, it interferes with hormone receptor sensitivity, including insulin, thyroid hormones, and the sex hormones. It disrupts cellular mitochondrial function. This is the energy powerhouse of the cell, which directly affects your energy production. And this also slows down any chance of recovery as well. It also increases your pain perception, and it places an additional load on your immune system. There's a lot going on, right? And this is why long-term stress is associated with fatigue that just doesn't resolve with sleep, frequent illnesses, joint pain, full body pain, brain fog, and that heavy, wired but tired feeling that so many people describe to me. So let's now layer poor sleep on top of this picture. Sleep is not just passive rest. Sleep is a time where your body can actively repair. And when the body enters, it's when the body can actually enter a deep healing mode. During deep sleep, tissues are rebuilt, immune cells are regenerated, memories are consolidated, and the brain's glymphatic system, and I'll have a conversation on the glymphatic system in another video series. The glymphatic system gets to work. It's part of the lymphatic system, but it's in the brain, and it clears metabolic waste from our brain. So when sleep is disrupted, whether through late nights, early mornings, screen exposure, our phones in our face all night, alcohol, blood sugar drops, stress hormones, or sleep disorders such as insomnia or sleep apnea, then this repair process is incomplete and the whole picture gets complicated. Poor sleep increases cortisol the next day as well. It increases your appetite because it alters with the other hormones, leptin and ghrelin, those signaling hormones of fullness and satiety. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, ghrelin, the hormone that stimulates hunger. So if you're feeling constantly hungry, or if you're never feeling hungry, then these hormones may need some attention too. Cravings intensify when these signaling hormones are dysregulated, particularly for cravings for sugar and refined carbohydrates, because your brain is seeking for fast energy. Sleep deprivation, it also reduces our insulin sensitivity, which leads to insulin resistance. So even a few nights of poor sleep can significantly impair your body's ability to handle glucose. And what this means is that it means that the same meal that would normally be managed well suddenly leads to high blood sugar and high insulin outputs. So this is why you could, how you used to eat was fine and now it doesn't work anymore. Again, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your system, it's under strain. Your system's changed. Sleep also plays a critical role in our emotional regulation. So when sleep is inadequate, the amygdala in our brain, the brain threat detection center, it actually becomes more reactive. And while the prefrontal cortex of the brain, that part that's responsible for reasoning, planning, and impulse control, that becomes less effective. And this is why poor sleep makes everything else feel harder, more overwhelming, and more emotionally charged. Your decision-making ability, it suffers, motivation dips, and self-trust, that erodes. So let's bring self-care now, layer self-care on top of this into the physiological conversation. Self-care is not about self-indulgence. From a biological perspective, self-care is any input that signals safety in your nervous system. Now, safety allows your body to shift from sympathetic dominance, fight or flight, into parasympathetic activity, which is rest and digest. And this shift is largely mediated by our vagus nerve, right? It comes from the brain, goes down the neck to the rest of the body. Your vagus nerve is your major communication highway between your brain and the organs of your body, particularly the gut. It influences your heart rate, your digestion, inflammation, mood, and immune function. So when our vagal tone is strong, then your body recovers more efficiently from stress. When your vagal tone is low, your stress response lingers longer than it should. So some simple practices such as slow breathing, gentle movement, time in nature, meaningful connections, stillness, and rest are all valuable ways that you can stimulate vagal activity. These practices, what they'll do is they'll lower heart rate, they'll reduce cortisol, they'll improve digestion, and they'll dampen the inflammatory signaling and the pain. And this is why self-care is not optional if you want metabolic balance. Without adequate recovery signals, your body remains in a state of hypervigilance, and a vigilant body, it does not heal efficiently. And I want you to really absorb this next point, that you cannot out-diet a dysregulated nervous system. You can't out-supplement poor sleep. And you cannot force a stressed body into optimal health through willpower and more motivation alone. Your body must feel safe enough to make change first. And when stress is managed, sleep is protected, and recovery is prioritized, then something remarkable can happen. Your hormones begin to calibrate, your blood sugar stabilizes, your digestion improves. Energy becomes more consistent, inflammation goes down, cravings, they soften, they're not quite so loud in our head. And progress that once felt impossible, it actually starts to feel more natural. This is not because you are doing more, it's because your body is no longer fighting to survive. So if you've ever felt frustrated that you're doing everything right and still not seeing the results that you want, I want you to consider your health through this lens. Perhaps your body has simply been asking for regulation and not restriction, success, support, so you can get success, not pressure, consistency, not perfection. Your physiology is always responding to your internal and external environment. So when we change our environment, your body changes its behavior. It's a natural process. And this is exactly why stress, sleep, and self-care are foundational pillars of metabolic balance. Not an afterthought, not a bonus, but as a requirement for sustainable health. 3 actionable steps. 1, begin observing your stress sleep loop. For the next 7 days, notice how your stress levels influence your sleep and how your sleep quality influences your appetite, your energy, and your moods and your cognitive concentration the following day. You know, awareness is the first physiological intervention. 2, protect your sleep window. Commit to a consistent bedtime that allows for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. This is not about perfection. This is not a sign of laziness. It's about giving your nervous system predictable recovery time. We need the recovery time. We need the deep healing state. So introduce 1 daily recovery signal. Choose 1 practice that tells your body that it's safe. It could be slow breathing, a short walk outside, stretching, quiet time. Do it daily and not occasionally. And above all, cherish yourself.